Welcome to this course. We are very happy to start this path with you. Let's start right now. How to handle a spouse's former marriage. It might be difficult to accept your partner's first marriage, especially if you both have a strained relationship with their ex. Your spouse's ex is a part of their history and most likely a part of your own. By contemplating your emotions, making an effort to move forward, and understanding how to handle challenges, you may deal with your spouse's past marriage. Analyzing your emotions. Analyze your ambivalent or unpleasant feelings. The difficulty you are having with the ex may also be a problem with your own issues if you are uneasy about yourself or your commitment to your spouse. Consider the reasons behind your unease with your spouse's ex and identify the source of the issue. You might be concerned, for instance, that your spouse still harbors feelings for their ex or that the former partner still has a chance. If so, take a more objective view of the circumstance so that you can let go of these emotions. Recognize that relationships involving an ex-spouse are frequently challenging, particularly if there are kids involved. This is especially true if there are differences of opinion over how the kids should be raised. But complicated doesn't always equal miserable. Some individuals have the mistaken assumption that real love entails no issues, yet this is untrue. It will take time and patience to be satisfied with someone who has complicated, if not terrible, connections with others. You may need to decide whether or not you can manage such a connection, depending on the circumstances. Even if you think a person is amazing, you may opt to quit the relationship because you cannot deal with the drama of the person's personal life. Determine if you struggle with trust. Your trust concerns may be connected to how you feel about your spouse's ex. Remind yourself that if your spouse still desired to remain with their ex, they would not have married you. Believe in your spouse. The time has come to resolve any trust-related issues. It's possible that you've already had a horrible encounter where an ex-partner done something to you that damaged you. This is not the same situation, tell yourself. This individual is not the same. You may be inspired by someone else's loss, such a parent, a TV personality, or a celebrity. Remind yourself often that your experiences are not the same as those of others. Examine any jealous feelings you may be feeling. You might be harboring jealousy if you find yourself feeling uneasy whenever your spouse interacts with or speaks about their ex. Whenever you catch yourself feeling envious, try to keep in mind that your spouse had a past existence unrelated to yours. Address the insecurities you have about your connection with your partner. Jealousy fades away when you are comfortable in your relationship. Inform your partner of their ex-partner. Talking to your spouse about their ex is a good idea. The ex's influence on your husband and your children should be discussed before moving on to the spouse's relationship with the ex. Be open and truthful about your feelings and discomfort. You too might find a decent strategy for dealing with the ex predicament thanks to this chat. Set boundaries by going through your spouse for all communication to reduce your contact with the ex. If you too have an ex, this is a wonderful moment to ask your spouse how they feel about them. Going forward. Embrace the circumstances. The ex-partner status of your spouse cannot be changed. Accept that you have no control over the issue, even if your ex is being obstructive. Just make an effort to ignore them and be friendly whenever you are among them. Ignoring immaturity is the most effective method to counteract it. They are prone to give up if they don't get a response. Stay away from the past. Focusing on the prior relationship won't help because it's likely that your spouse wants to move past the decisions they made. If you nag about the ex, it can be an unhealthy stumbling block. Put the past in the past. Think about creating a more optimistic future for the two of you. Make an effort to make your time together enjoyable and meaningful so that your pleasant memories begin to overpower your ex's memories. To be happy, practice. Pay attention to your marriage and the present. Be appreciative that you and your partner met. Be thankful that you two are content. Don't consider yourself the third husband or the second wife. Simply put, you and your partner are each other's husband or wife. That's all there is to it. You can maintain a pleasant and long-lasting marriage by keeping things straightforward and lovely. Just keep in mind that it took your spouse's entire life's events to bring the two of you together. Be thankful for every encounter they had in the past because they all contributed to your relationship. Set aside time to go on dates and spend quality alone time with your spouse in order to build your marriage. Managing problems. Let your partner to be the main caregiver. Children frequently find it challenging to accept a new adult telling them what to do. Let your spouse to establish the rules, expectations, and punishments if they had children from a previous marriage while you continually reinforce them. When issues emerge, involve your partner and show the kids a unified front. Your husband won't need to be the primary parent for much longer as the kids get used to the constancy between you and them. Give yourself some time to get to know the kids. Even if they don't treat you in this way, show love and respect to your spouse's children. But avoid trying to be the biological parent. If you give them time and space, they'll get to know you. Let the kids decide the tempo. Keep in mind that the children can initially feel betrayed by the new marriage because they are loyal to the former. Let the children to process their emotions without pressuring them to make a decision. Remember that kids have different perspectives on divorce than adults do. Encourage the youngsters to talk about their feelings and do not be offended by what they say. Inform the kids, if they're old enough, that you're not there to take the place of their biological parent. Try stating something like, "I'm not a replacement for your mom, and I never will be, if you are their stepmother. I simply want to act as a second mother or a very close friend for you." Attempt to make the situation work. Make an attempt to work together if you want to try to get along with everyone. Recognize that the ex-partner of your husband is a person. You should act with respect toward them if they are making an effort to do so. Try not to feel resentful that your partner must provide child support. You must realize that when you live with your spouse, you also embrace all of their baggage. Consider the child support obligations as a bill that one of you received but that you both accept and pay jointly, much like a credit card. Choose your approach carefully when bringing up the past with your spouse if you believe they are being ungrateful or receiving more than they should. It might be preferable to discuss the costs subtly and allow your partner draw their own judgments. See a marriage therapist. It's time to talk to someone who can offer you counseling about your obsessive thoughts if you can't stop thinking about your spouse's ex. To work through the issues relating to the ex, you could wish to attend counseling by yourself or with your spouse. Get a family therapist involved. Consider hiring a family therapist to help with relationships inside the family if your ties with the kids are strained or if you and your spouse are unable to put up a united front. This is especially useful if there are numerous kids in the family, each of whom responds to a new parent with a different set of behaviors and reactions. How to manage a widow/widower in a marriage. Recognize the past. It could be challenging to adjust if your new partner is a widower. Your partner might still be grieving, and you might feel like you can't live up to the former spouse. Accept the past rather than trying to forget it. Your partner's first marriage was an important part of their life, and they will likely be in mourning for a very long time. Discuss your feelings, both positive and negative, with one another. Encourage your partner, for instance, to talk to you about their pain. This fosters the development of a stronger and deeper bond between you two. Discuss your feelings with your partner. Speak with your partner if you are experiencing any feelings of insecurity or worry due to the past. Recognize that your partner will inevitably miss their deceased spouse. Most widows never lose their love for their deceased spouse. That does not imply that a fulfilling connection between you and your spouse is impossible. Accept that your spouse will always be in love with their ex-partner and let go of any jealousies or bad feelings you may have toward them. But keep in mind that your partner loves you and that you are now creating a life together. The fact that your partner was previously married has no bearing on their feelings for you. It may take some getting used to, but eventually you will understand that your partner loves you even while they continue to adore their deceased spouse. Don't attempt to emulate the deceased spouse or carry out their actions. For instance, remembering old customs can be therapeutic, but talk to your partner first. Your partner could want to continue particular customs or behaviors, or they might not want to since it would be too upsetting for them. Talk about the items that should be kept from the past. If your partner wants to keep their deceased spouse's belongings, you might not feel comfortable letting them. Conduct a discussion in which you both consider your reasons for wanting to keep or toss the objects. After that, agree on a course of action for the circumstance. For instance, you might decide to keep all the photos and a box or two of memories in exchange for your partner donating other things to a good cause. It's wise to avoid pressing the matter. Provide suggestions that will help both of you feel less stressed. Consider packing the belongings so they are not a daily reminder of the deceased spouse or storing them in a room you can avoid. Next, consent to bring up the subject again in about a year. Establish limits while being compassionate. Even while you want to feel sorry for your partner, you also need to consider your own emotions. Talk to your partner when they say or do something that makes you feel bad. In order to ensure that both of your needs are addressed, establish clear limits around what is and is not acceptable. You could feel wounded, disrespected, and insecure if your partner calls their former spouse my first wife or husband or just my partner, for instance. I understand that you're grieving and that you still love your deceased spouse, but these statements hurt me, say to your partner. Be present-minded. Focus on the present and building a future together rather than continuing to live in the past with the deceased spouse. Spend time together and create new memories. Together, try out new activities that neither of you have done before. Explore new interests, locations, and cuisines. Think about remodeling your house or purchasing a new one. This can make it seem more like your house and less like one from the past. Thanks for joining us on this path. We are happy to have provided you with tools that will surely be very useful for you. We wish you the best for your life. Thanks again.